Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing another question from Leetcode, which is related to the topic of linked list. But yeah, it is tagged to be medium, but it feels way too easy for being at medium level. But yeah, we'll continue with our explanation. So the explanation goes like this: there is a linked list. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we are giving a variable name n. So let's say n equals to 2. So basically we have to delete the second last element, or n equals to 3, then we'll have to delete the third last element. So this is the simple task which we are given to perform. What we have to basically do here is there will be one node object that will iterate over the uh, the linked list. The other two variables which we'll be taking is temp 1 and temp. Why we are doing this? Because we have to basically delink an element. So what we have to do is we have to have two variables. One is 3, one is 5, so that this starts pointing to this instead of pointing to 4. So that's the reason we'll need two variables, temp 1 and temp. So next up what we'll do is uh, yeah, so we'll simply run at the end the loop. We have a default value for the next pointer, that is none. So I'll be solving it in Python. So yeah, while next, or while node is the variable we are using, node not equals to none. Till it is not equal to none, till we have not reached none, we have to continue iterating over this. So while this is the case, let me see if I have started recording. Yeah. Uh, so what we have to basically do is we have to see if k equals to n. K equals to n. So basically what we are doing is for every alternate element, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, what we are doing is, like, if we are at 2, second last element is this, correct? If we are at 3, second last element has to be this. So what we have to do is we have to basically make temp to jump from here to here. Okay, so this is our main task, like making the temp to increment for every alternate element. Now it is here at 3. Now when we reach for 3, temp should be here. For 4, again k will increment to 2. K will increment to 2. So we'll have to increment this. Okay, so that's how we'll do. For every alternate element, we have to increment the value of temp. So if k equals to n, in this scenario, what we have to do is we have to int temp1. First we'll store temp, so that we have the value which has to point to a element, skipping an element through temp, and temp equals to temp dot next. And we also have to decrement k, because k is the number which k is the variable which basically indicates whether it is alternate value or not. So if k equals to 1, then we'll not be making these modifications. So that's why we decrement for this node. If we have found this operation, then we have to decrement k. Okay, and in the scenario when k is not equal to none, what we have to do is we have to basically, in the node, we have to store node dot next, and we have to increment k. So this is for iterating over the linked list. So we can see in the code as well, we have node equals to node dot next, and we have incremented k. So let's quickly see what happens following this code. So let's say 1, 2, 3. This 3 doesn't look great. 3, 4, and 5. So initially all of them, temp equals to temp1 equals to node, they all point to head, and k equals to 0, not 10, 0. Yeah. So initially we see k equals to 0, so we simply k equals to 0, we simply go to the next element. This condition doesn't enter this, we don't enter this particular if condition k equals to n, so we go to next node. So in that scenario, what happens, node becomes uh, node points to here and k becomes 2 or becomes 1, and now again k is not equal to 2 yet, so we you remember temp is pointing still to this, even temp and temp1 both are pointing to this. Okay, so now node becomes starts pointing to 3 and k becomes 2, so now k equals to 2. So in that case, so basically what we are doing is, at for each variable we have to make the temp point to the second last element. That's our main task. Okay, so if temp is second last element, because the n value is 2. Okay, if n was 3, then it should be pointing to the third last element. So that's what is decided via k. So since k is 2 here, at 3 it became 2, hence why we'll perform few operations. We'll put in temp1, we'll put temp. So that's basically temp1 will be pointing to this variable, and in which is already at that position, and temp will start pointing to temp dot next. So that is 2. That is the second last element. So temp becomes 2, temp1 becomes 1. Okay. So this is something we'll keep following. Let's say when we reach to 5. Okay. So yeah, for 3 it is done. For 4 again, uh, if we for 3 it is done, and we also decrement k becomes 1. For 4 we don't do anything because k is 1. uh, we can see like no, for like we'll increment 4, we'll increment to 4. Now in the same loop we'll increment 4, and we'll also increment here. We decremented k, we decremented k, and then we also incremented k. Okay, so k will again becomes 2 because this is started pointing to 4, and k again became 2. So now we reach 5. Okay, uh, now we reach 4, and the loop ends. We see whether 4 is none. 4 is not none. We see whether k equals to n. Yeah, k in decremented in this if condition, and then again it incremented, so k becomes 2. Yeah, so k is 2. So if k equals to 2, which is true, again temp1 will become temp. So that's basically temp till here was 2. So temp1 will become 2, and temp becomes next of temp. So that's basically 2 of 3, 3 of 2. So that's 3, and we have 4 till now. This is within the if condition. Outside the if condition, again we increment node. We in the node we put node next. Node next is 5, and we decrement k. We increment k. Yeah, here k also decremented, right? So k became 1, then we incremented k. So k equals to 2. So when it came here, it checked whether node equals to none. No, it is not. So it basically again performed these operations, and temp1 will become 3, and temp will become 4, and then again which again k will become 1 and inside the if loop, and again k will increment outside the if condition. So once that is done, we again in the node we put node of next, that becomes none. So now when we check the condition over here in the while loop, we see that node equals to none. It is not equals to none, so this will break. So at the end what we have is, we'll have temp1 to be 3, temp to be 4, and we have to basically delink the element at temp. That's what our task is. So we'll simply do temp ones next will become temps next. So that will be 3 to point at 5. Okay. And we'll return the head. Anyways, the question asks us to return the head. Okay, so that's the case. But there is a catch here. If the value which is to be removed is the head, in that case, we have to make head point to the temp of next. We have to keep this if condition to make it work. So that's the case for, like, let's say there is one element, like here there is one element and we have to remove the first element from the last. So in that scenario, we have to basically perform this. This has been very simple. The solution even has gone past all the 100% of other solutions. So yeah, that's how we do it. And this proved out to be quite simple. I don't know why it is at medium level, but yeah, that's how we do it. Thanks a lot. Subscribe, follow, and I have all the links attached to my profile on YouTube. So please reach out to me if required, if there's any query. Thanks a lot.